Welcome to the Authoritative Coach podcast with me, your host, Chris Marr. In this episode, we're going to be shining a light on how you show up as a communicator, as a professional with your clients, specifically when there are problems and challenges. Because let's face it, everything isn't going to go smoothly all the time. So how do we show up? Do we fall on our sword immediately? Or do we really step up and challenge our clients and help them to solve these problems and work through with them? This is a big topic today. We're going to be stripping back the layers. We're going to be going within to really understand better how we need to show up so that we can have better, more valuable, transformative conversations with our clients. Let's get into it. Now, when it comes to coaching communication, teaching communication skills, there is this natural tendency towards getting the quick answer to things. I think this is true probably in a lot of teaching and a lot of things that we're learning. We sort of want to skip to the end, get the answer that we're looking for, right? Teaching communication is no different. So that shows up when people say things like, can you tell me what to say? Can you give me the words? What's the script? Like, give me the questions that I should be asking. People ask me these things all the time, right? They'll say, well, Chris, how do you know what to say, right? And they don't like the sort of the answer that I have, which is that because it's a long answer, it's an answer that requires work and the type of work that people don't spend enough time on, which is that the problem is that what ends up happening is if I give you the script and give you the questions and give you everything to say, you might be saying the right things, but it isn't coming from the right place from within you. And so as a coach, what I want to help people with is not just changing their behavior, what the words that come out their mouth would be a type of behavior we're trying to change. It's to change also your mindset and the way that you think in order to change your behavior. And so as much as I want to, people want it, and I kind of want to give them the shortcut, we actually need to work on the other things, which means really adapting over time our overall approach to how we work with clients. And that really starts within you, right? So we're working on things like your self-esteem, your self-confidence, your self-assuredness. In short, really about your self-respect. And if we don't work on this, what tends to get in the way is that we hold back from doing all the right things, even when it's difficult. So before I get into today's coaching question for today's podcast episode, I've got a really important introductory section that leads us to where we want to go. So split in two today. I've got an important message to share with you and get you thinking, but it's going to lead us up to the actual coaching, I guess the coaching question, but really the coaching problem that we're trying to solve for. And so we're going to start with a question here. And so I'm going to ask you this question, and it's up to you whether you want to hit pause after you hear the question, sort of think on it yourself, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the answer. And perhaps thinking about it first and then seeing where it lands with me in the podcast might be quite a useful exercise to do, which is exactly what I'd do if we were actually having a conversation about it. So in the context of your client work, if you had to choose, would you rather be liked or would you rather be respected? If you had to choose one or the other, would you rather be liked or be respected? Now, I've had this discussion with dozens of people, dozens of teams, and so I'm going to share with you exactly what this looks like. So hit pause if you want to pause and think on it, or if you're ready to go, let's get stuck in. So I'm going to share a quick story with you first of all to kind of sort of build a bridge between liked and respected and understand what it means. And perhaps you want to think about, as I tell this story as a personal story, think about this for yourself in times where you've made a choice that was perhaps difficult for you, but also difficult perhaps for other people to sort of get. And it took them time to realize how important this was. And maybe they didn't like it or even like you for doing it. But in the end, actually, they respected you for it. So I want you to think about this. Think about who you respect and why, who you like and why. Let's get all this stuff moving around in our brain as we sort of build the foundation for what's to come. Not just in this podcast episode, but across everything we do with communication. I think this message here today, this question that we're asking ourselves, the difference between liked and respected, is a big part of how we show up as leaders, as communicators. So over the last, in fact, this goes back to 4 years ago, almost the 14th of June 2019, almost 4 years ago, I gave up alcohol forever. Now, I'm not sharing this with you to show off. I don't need a pat on the back for this. This is about helping you to see that the challenges that we have with making a big decision like this, especially with a prominent alcohol culture like there is here in Scotland. And over the last 4 years, I haven't given in to peer pressure from my friends, my family. I go to bed early. I don't go to pubs generally. I don't stay up late at parties. I don't get drunk with my friends. And of course, I don't get hangovers and all the, lethargicness and sickness that comes with drinking. Have I missed out on some experiences? Did people miss me in these situations? Have I let people down? Have I lost some friends? Have I grown apart from others? Do some people not like me as much anymore? Probably, yes. All of these things are true to some degree. And so, like I said, I'm not sharing this with you to show off, but I think it's important for even me sharing this with you to sort of reflect on how I've tackled this. And the reason that I've been able to remain sober, in other words, the reason that I've been able to stay with my decision is because I'm clear on why I'm doing it, right? I've got a very clear sense of purpose and what I want for me. And I'm not willing to let other people or influences carry me away from my own values and principles, right? What I believe in and what I believe to be right. And so the daily decision to not have alcohol, but insert any decision that you've made, the daily decision to do whatever it is, comes back to the respect that we have for ourselves, the respect that I have for myself. If I want people to like me, if I just wanted to be liked, all I'd have to do in this situation is do one simple thing, and that would be to go out to the pub and have a drink. Now, earlier, and this goes back to my 3-year anniversary, I think, was a close friend said to me, "Oh, I'm now starting to understand and respect your sobriety." Right? So it took 3 years really to hear that. That was the first time I'd heard that. And so what does this tell us? Why share the story? If you want to earn the respect of others, you really do have to respect yourself first. And if you don't respect yourself, how could you expect others to respect you? And so what does this all mean for the work that we're doing with our clients? And so come back to the question, should we strive to be liked or to earn respect? Is it more important to be liked? Is it more important to be respected? There's a great quote from Margaret Thatcher on this. If you set out to be liked, you would be prepared to compromise on anything at any time, and you would achieve nothing. If you set out to be liked, you would be prepared to compromise on anything at any time, and you would achieve nothing. And so I think it's important to recognize and understand that the need to be liked comes from people's perception of us, which we have no control over, right? We can't control what other people think about us. In fact, what other people think about us is really none of our business. And earning respect starts from within us, which we do have control over. And this is the foundation of where it all starts. It's a very stoic thought, right? What we have complete control over and what we do not have control over. We can't control what people think, but we can control about how we think about ourselves. And so let's go within here. This is the foundation for where it all starts and where it can all fall apart as well. This is where you're going to find your coach, your leader, your communicator. It's inside of you. I believe that to be true when I'm working with people, is that it's in there somewhere. We need to peel back the layers and find it and let it come out of us. And so let's look at the need to be liked. Let's just do liked and respected briefly here. The need to be liked leads to what, right? So just think about this in your own life, your own working life with your clients. If I want to be liked all the time, I'm going to be agreeable. I'm probably going to make compromises. I'm going to let the clients compromise things that are important. I'm going to sweep things under the carpet. There's a certain level of ignorance. We're going to probably make decisions slowly, make the wrong decisions. And perhaps you compromise yourself in all of this as well by trying to please everyone. And I think we all know that that's just an impossible task. And if we try to please everyone, we end up pleasing no one. And so leading with the need to be liked, if we need to be liked, we get mediocre results, we do mediocre work, we get mediocre outcomes. And I don't think that we would ever really consciously choose to want any of that. And so let's just hold that thought and think about, well, what's the other side of this coin here? Who do we respect? We tend to respect people who are confident. If you think about even just taking a moment to think, well, who are the people that I respect? People that are confident, competent in their area of expertise. They've got a clear sense of purpose, clear boundaries, expectations. They're consistent in their behavior, right? They expect more from themselves and they expect more from the people around them. And they care about doing the right thing, even if it isn't popular, right? Even if it's difficult. And I think furthermore, you know where you stand with them, right? You don't get a sense that they're pretending to be someone other than themselves. And so you can rely on them. They're very reliable because you know what to expect from them. And so if you think about who you respect and why, do the people that you respect, do you like them? And I think for everybody that I've spoken to, certainly, there's always one or two people that they respect, but don't necessarily like. But then when you think about the people that you care about the most in your life, people that are closest to you, the people that you love, there's a really good chance that you also respect them. And so I would be lying to you if I said that it wasn't important for me to feel liked. I'm a human being just like all of us, right? I want to feel connected to the people that I spend the most time with, right? I want to be connected to my clients and my family, my peers, my family, my friends. I want that. And I think it's true that people want to work with people that they like too, right? But as a coach, as a leader, as a professional working with clients, our likability on its own isn't going to bring out the best in people. And so I think the truth for most of us is, and this is not just my own experience, but based on having this discussion with many people, is that it's important to be liked and respected. We want to have both, but we need to get them in the right order. And so it's not about one or the other. It's about what am I leading with? And so if you strive to be liked first, that comes with the risk of never being respected, right? Striving to be liked first comes with the risk of never being respected ever. And knowing that you don't need to be liked to be respected, but being respected first increases your chances of being liked later. Okay, so if we lead with earning respect, there's a good chance we will be liked later. And so that's where we want to start. Because, and this is what I want to ask you now as we move into the sort of coaching part of this podcast is, how is the need for you to feel liked or be liked by your clients holding you back from being the best coach that you can be, the best professional that you can be? How is the need to feel liked holding you back from getting the best results and getting the best out of your clients, to get the best out of yourself? Ultimately, how is the need to be liked holding you back from doing your best work? A bit of a heavy topic, I guess. But when you peel back the layers, I feel like we're getting really close, if not right into where it all starts and where it all stems from. How we could be the best communicators comes back to getting hump, over this hump of being liked and being respected. So let me give you an example, like a really practical example of this. If we shift into sort of where the coaching question is for today, arguably you've already had the coaching question today, which is the difference between if you had to choose being liked or being respected, which one would you choose? That's really the coaching question for us. But looking at the practicalities of coaching and working with our clients, there's no question that when we're working with a client, things are going to go wrong, right? It's never going to be perfect. As much as we are many steps ahead of our clients and want to get ahead of problems before they become problems, things will naturally go wrong, right? Things will take longer, results won't meet expectations, things will go out of scope, clients will get frustrated, they'll get upset, and it's like inevitable that issues are going to rise. And one of the things that we need to train ourselves in is how to handle these issues well. Now, one of the things I see in the agency world, I'm sure this is true in other professional services, but my experience with working with agency client professionals is that all too often when things go wrong, we immediately fall on our own sword, right? We apologize, we take the blame, we dive head first into it without really thinking about it. We go into solution mode, we go into apology mode, we submit, or to the problem. The client is the alpha, we're the beta, and we just basically fall over. We assume it's our fault. And in my experience in working with people in agencies, client services, professionals, what I found to be true is this just isn't helpful, right? This is not what the client wants. There's a great scene. I'm getting a bit nerdy here, but there's a great scene in Dune, the movie, where I think it's the admiral. I can't remember his exact role, but essentially the admiral, something goes wrong, right? There's a spy. They sneak in. They've been there for weeks and weeks and weeks in order to kill the royal family in the movie. And the admiral in the movie accepts the blame and resigns from his post. But the Duke refuses his resignation. He says, like, I don't need you to resign. I need you to catch the spies. So it's like, it's not, I don't want you to fall on your own sword here. I want you to help me solve the problem. And I think this is true for almost all our clients when they have a problem. They're not trying to come in and say, and it might sound like this is the thing with us, we have to interpret this in the right way, is the client might come in and say, there's this problem. And they're not saying, I blame you for this problem. What they're really saying is, can you help me solve this problem? And so this is why it's not a helpful response for us to fall on our own sword, because it hinders our ability to actually look at the problem objectively, and it hinders our ability to actually solve the problem and work with the right questions and really help our clients to overcome these challenges. And so if we can sort of strive, like again, coming back to liked and being respected, hopefully you're starting to see, like, if you have the need to be liked, you're going to submit. And if you're going to lead with to earn respect with your client, then you're probably going to move down a different path here. And so this is about being indispensable to your clients. It's about forming a really strong relationship with your clients, a progressive relationship with your clients, a relationship that allows you to solve problems with each other and not simply fall over when a problem occurs. And so these skills, we want to be more valuable to our clients. These skills that we're looking for here are be able to make sure that we can guide our clients to work on the right problems, that we can make sure that our clients are doing the right work in the right order, that they're not making stupid mistakes, that they're many steps ahead, that we're many steps ahead of our clients in terms of preventing future problems as well. Right? That's what we bring to the relationship with our clients. And so what they need from us is not to take the blame, to not fall on our sword, but to help them through solving the problem. So this happens. I'm going to give you a bonus tip at the end of this episode as well. But this happens all the time, right? Let's just take a simple example. A client comes to me, they're 6 months into working with us, and they're like, Chris, we're not getting like the lead, we're not getting the sales opportunities that we thought we would, or you said that we would, if we were going to do all this work. And I could immediately go, oh my God, that's my fault, it's my problem. I'm going to, apologize, and I'm going to dive straight first into like solution mode, right? Instead of doing that and taking the blame and making it all my fault, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to read into this that they're saying, Chris, we love the work that we're doing here. We want to continue doing this work, but we're hitting a bit of a wall here, and we need your help to come in and solve this problem with us. And so how would I approach this as a coach now would be different perhaps than I would have approached it 5 or 6 years ago. And so my approach is going to be obviously to empathize, right? This is a problem. There's a lot at stake here. We've done a lot of work. How do we get the most value from it? And so the coaching questions I'm going to ask are to make sure we're working on the right problem, make sure we're really in the right place before we dive into solution mode, is questions like, when did you first realize this was a problem? Why am I only finding out about it now? What do you think has caused the problem? How have we allowed this to happen? What have we done to try and fix the problem so far? What do you think it is that we're missing? How important is this compared to everything else that we're working on? Do we want to prioritize it? What kind of impact is this having on the business? I could go on and on. Those are the first sort of 6 to 8 questions I'm thinking of right away. I want to understand the problem. I also want to train my client to make sure that they are working on the right problem too, and they aren't just reacting off the cuff to something that's happening in the business, and it's not really a problem, or it's the wrong problem, right? Are we looking at a symptom, or are we looking at the real thing? And so my job as a coach is to get objectivity around it, to make sure we're working on the right things. And so we've got to push back on them a little bit as well here. We want to get them involved in solving the problem with us. And so what we do is we come to, instead of trying to see it like the client and me and the problems in the middle, it's like, can we get onto the same side of the table, work together as a team, and look at the problem objectively together? And so next time that your client comes to you with a problem that would normally have you falling on your own sword and jumping into action, I'm going to ask you here to slow down, to think more objectively. Yes, we want to bring compassion to it, right? If there's anybody in the whole world that's going to understand how hard this work is that we're doing together, it's us, right? We know. So we're going to bring the compassion to this issue, but we're going to slow down, ask better questions, make sure we're doing the right thing, solving the right problem, and we're doing things in the right order. And by doing so, we're going to increase our value to our clients. Now, here's the bonus tip for us today, is that oftentimes when this comes up, this is my own experience, yours might be similar, is that clients tend to present their problems to me in the form of like email or direct message inside our project management software, right? So it's like they'll communicate with you, and I'll immediately see it and I'll go, oh no, there's a problem. They want to end this contract or whatever, right? I'll just like catastrophize it or blow it up, right, in the DMs. Now, the thing is with like written messages is like most people are communicating at like 5 to 10% of their total capacity when they're emailing you, right? All you're getting is the words on the screen. You're adding in all the context, the negative things you're thinking about or the positive things you're thinking about. You're adding all of that in. Here's what I want to share with you, is that as soon as you get a hint that there is an issue or a challenge that your clients are struggling with or trying to overcome, the very best thing you can do is something like this, which is, got your message, Chris, got your message, thanks, let's get on a call. This continues to show up as a coaching problem or a coaching challenge, is that the problem gets worse if we go back and forth with email or direct messaging, and all they're getting is text back and forth. The problem just gets worse and worse, to the point where someone will come to me for help and say, this is a major problem, we're having this problem with a client. And I'll just say something like, so when did you have a call about it? Oh, we didn't. And this is usually just highlights the issue. It's like, we should have just jumped on a call, talked it out, and that would have been the best way to deal with the issue. So let's draw a line under this. We've had a longer podcast day exploring this foundational issue of liked and respected, and how that holds us back perhaps for being the best coach that we can be, the best leader that we can be, the best communicator that we can be, holds us back from having the transformative conversations with our clients that we absolutely need to have. And so thinking about these two major things, my behavior with my clients, is it because I want to be liked, is that holding me back from showing up in the right way, from asking the right questions? Is it holding me back from really challenging my clients? Is it holding me back from dealing with the right problems? So that's the first thing. And the second thing is, and this is true, I think, of all communication, is that we can all be good communicators when everything's going well, right? And even then you can dig into that. But generally speaking, we all do well when things are going smoothly. It's when things start to go wrong that's when we can really see if we're the communicators that we really need to be. And so when you think about when things go wrong, am I just immediately falling on my own sword, or am I going to show up as the person I need to be to really help my clients get through this problem and be the indispensable leader and coach and communicator that I really need to be? So lots to think about today in this podcast. These are really important topics, things I love talking about with my coaches and my clients as well, to really get them thinking about, how am I showing up? Am I showing up in the right way? Am I really bringing the best out of myself? Am I showing up with self-confidence, self-assuredness, self-respect? That's where it all starts. That's where we peel back the layers. That's what we're really getting to. And so, as always, I'd love to hear your thoughts, your questions, your ideas on these major topics, like versus respected, dealing with client problems. Jump into the comments if you're on YouTube. If you're on Spotify and you're listening to this, go into the show notes and click the link. Come over to our community, start to have a discussion about these things, or head over to anywhere where you can leave comments and have a discussion. I'd love to know what you're thinking, how you're dealing with this. Even if you want to push back on some of the ideas I've shared in the podcast today as well, I'd love to have the challenge of having this discussion with you. As always, it's really great to share all of these insights with you, and I look forward to seeing you next week.